How you doing? So, if you're new to the channel, you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that before we go any further, okay? So make sure you smash that for me. So, and grab yourself a cup of tea while you're at it. Why not? Treat yourself. Go on, I'll pause it. Pause it right now. Go and get a brew. Right, you got your tea? Cool. Right, so we're back at the kitchen extension rewire that we're doing. So yesterday, I had yesterday afternoon on it and managed to get quite a bit done. So I'm quite chuffed about that. So just a quick recap if you haven't seen it. So we've got the holes drilled back to the board. The board is down that corridor down there because the garage layout's there. We've got utility room and so on, so on. So if you haven't seen it, like I say, I'll try and remember to put a link above my head somewhere you can smash that and catch up. So basically the gist of it is now, so I didn't have the plan for the rest of the room over that side. I've got that now. So what I'm doing is just finalising the kitchen ring. I always put a kitchen ring on. I don't really want to be doing radials, although I could have done a 32 amp radial, but I've not. I prefer doing a ring in fairness for myself. So where we're at now, obviously we've got the cables dropped for the steel. So roughly where this is, there's going to be a big island where I'm standing. There is underfloor heating to go in. In fairness, I just reminded myself that I've got to put some 5-core cables up into there, but there you go, drifting off. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix this to the steel. Now, I bet you're thinking, how the hell am I going to do that? That's going to be a right pain, and I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to go about fixing those cables to the steel. Okay, so this is basically the weapon of choice that we're going to be using for fixing basically a clips essentially to that steel. Now, I've used this on some ridiculously thick steels before, where we actually used it for putting wall ties in, funnily enough, like wall starters, wall ties, that sort of thing. So if you're in the building industry and you've stumbled across this, then basically that's what I've used it for. So this is the Pulsar Spit 27E, this little bad boy. Now they do absolutely tons and tons. It's not a paid promotion by them whatsoever. Like I fully paid for this. It's just something that I've been using a lot, an awful lot now. Just becoming a go-to tool for me. So what we're going to be using is basically these. So these clips here. So you fire them straight through the center and then you use zip ties to tie them back. Now this steel is going to have to be boxed in anyway. So the way I look at that is if I can try and fix that slightly off center, because obviously you've got a real strong center piece of steel in there, which obviously is going to make it thicker. Now they do tons and tons of different fixings and nails and all the rest of it, but obviously for steel you don't want to be then firing, like trying to fire the 27mm ones in, because it doesn't need it, and two, it's not going to work. So all you're going to use is these little ones, which I think are 15mm. So essentially that is all you need, because with the force of it, I think the gist of it is it almost like welds itself in. I think that's basically the gist of it. But it's brilliant. It really is a great bit of kit. So just to load that up, if anyone's used a Paz load nail gun, exactly the same principle. Pull that bad boy back and then stick them in. That's it. It's as simple as that. And then so it runs on gas, so you put your gas canister in here, lithium battery. It does last a ridiculous amount of time as well, and it doesn't take that long to charge. So the other thing is that you can put the clip already on like that, and obviously it will stay on while you fix her on. So I'm just going to get the laser level up, just get that sorted, and let's get that fixed up together. Okay, so spacing wise, so what I've done is I've measured it roughly 80mm away from this edge. It should miss the thicker part of the steel. So I'm just going to fix it roughly 600mm apart all the way up the steel. Should be more than enough. So sometimes it's easier just to put a mark on the center, because obviously, as you know, you're standing in the way of everything, so we're not going to get the 600 up there, so we'll mark that there. Okay, and then it's literally just a case of holding that in and firing her on. So I'll tell you what, we'll bring you in a bit closer so you can see a bit more. Get your zip ties, feed them round the cables through the retaining clip, and you can tighten up and you can dress them in as you go in. So on this one there's no more cables to go in, so it's literally just a case of making sure that they're all nice and as flat as possible, dressed in, because the likelihood is that they're going to be putting timber on this steel that's going to be at least 25-30 mil thick. So the other reason why I'm using the yellow zip ties more than the black ones as such, because if you can tell, these steels have already been painted a grey, which obviously doesn't make it very visible, and I don't want these damaged one iota. So by using a high vis sort of cable ties actually makes life a little bit easier and a little bit clearer to see that there are cables on there. So that's how we're fixing to steel. Okay, so as with anything, job like this, you see, we've got the plan that's been sent through. I'm actually quite fortunate with the clients, in fairness. They do me a very detailed plan, which is brilliant, because normally I go, yeah, just put it wherever. So what I would normally do is use a spray can and mark up. So basically by the side of that unit, so that's where the kitchen run ends. So we want a double socket there. Now bear in mind that the floor is coming up 160 mil because you've got insulation to go in and you've also got the underfloor heating. So that is going in as well. I'll try and move that around so the lighting's not brilliant in here today. So yeah, so we've got the socket there, so we've got 160 mil to go up, which I have got to keep remembering it, because I'm a bit of a nightmare with that. So got that, that's fine. So we've now got one either side here. Let's move this mirror, try not to smash that. I've got one down here. Yeah, so sorry, basically we've got TV on here, socket there, socket down there, but there is already one there, so I have to be mindful because that's still energized at the minute because that is linked in with the rest of the ground floor. So we've also got, so over here we've got one by what's going to be the French doors, so one to that side, so we'll take care of that. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to mark it up here just so I know for reference, because I don't want to take that down at the minute. Okay, so I think on here there's going to be provisions for another TV on here as well, and then there's another socket basically to go down there. And that's basically this setup here. So that is this setup here. So we've got provisions for TV on that one, TV on that one. So I'm going to put HDMIs in both of them. So because that is a block wall, I imagine it's all going to be dot and dabbed in fairness, but the builder's not here, so I don't know. But I'm guessing the whole thing's going to be dot and dabbed out, so we'll roll with that. Fixing these bad boys on. So the 25mm back boxes, I'm gonna make sure I've got my tape on me. Yes, look at that, how organised am I? So, like I say, it's a real world spark channel. That's the way we do it. So, what I like to do is have them equally matched both sides. So we're going to go 250 out. So I've set the laser up. I don't know whether you can see that very well, but I've set the laser up so it's actually going through the center line. So these bad boys, so it's going to go through the center line of the back boxes, because I find that's the best way about going about it. Makes no sense, but whatever, I understand. Okay, so simple as that. Mark my 250 again, and there we have it. So it speeds things up with the spit nailer, makes life a lot easier. Now bearing in mind you're going to have 25mm dot and dab both sides of that, so it's going to push it in, so obviously you don't want it to be too tight. So I'm just going to move some of that tackle around there. The one thing I do need to clarify with the client, because they're in two minds whether the TV is going on that wall or that wall, but you really need to be putting HDMIs in, and obviously if you're not going to use it, we need to make sure that we're happy. So I'll pin them on for now, and obviously when they get home this evening, we'll have another little chat about it, and they really could do with choosing whether they want the TV there or there. So, but yeah, so right, we'll get those fixed up, and I'll jump back in a little bit. Right, so we've got the cables on this end, okay? So what I've had to do, tuck it round the back of the steel. Now, capping or no capping, right? Leave it in your comments below. Me personally, I used to cap absolutely everything. In fairness, it was one of those things where it was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this all the time. And in fairness, the last few rewires that I've done, I've not bothered. And the reason why, because there's no requirement for it either now, which there hasn't been for a while anyway. Now, some of the chases, yes. So if I'm using the chasing machine, I find, yes, if I use the oval capping, it works really well with the banding strap, holds it all in. It's nice and easy for Sean to come around and do all the plastering and all the rest of it. But this job's different. It's a completely overboarded job. There's nothing in the way. Basically, what I've gone back for is to using traditional clips. So we have got the stapler, we've got the DeWalt stapler, but in the brickwork, blockwork, on the mortar lines, it doesn't work. So I've gone back to traditional clipping. So one of the things I do really like to do, and make sure I'm really strict on it really, is to make sure that everything's nice and level. So obviously our prescribed zones, right? So for those of you who don't know what prescribed zones are, I can put cables anywhere vertically in between the two and horizontally across. Now, so what I've done, so I've used this to my advantage on here. So I've come across horizontally down to here, up vertically, and then that's got me over the problem with the steel on that side. It's going to be dot and dabbed. I find it's probably the best thing. So I'm not going to put the HDMIs in a socket down below on that one until they're home. So it's not a big deal because I can just drop another one in. I'll leave one of the legs in longer. So this is my next bit. So when I come to here, again, I've got a massive steel above my head. So what I'm going to do is going to drill through this pillar here and get that into that corner. And then that way it gets me over that section as well. So yeah, loads to be thinking. And this is the thing, when you're doing the first fix, you've got to be constantly thinking of the next stage. And yeah, so we're at that next stage. Right, so the cables for this radial are all sorted, so what's left to do for me on finishing that circuit, because I like to finish the circuit and then I can move on to like the lighting and that sort of thing. So what's left for it now, like I say, I don't know the plasterers here. I don't know what they're like. I don't know whether they're going to be tidy or not, or they're going to fill my boxes full of snot, which I get. I do understand, you know, they're trying to make a living, but equally it's one of those things that it can be avoided. So what I've started to do, I haven't always done it, like I say, I've started to do it, is taping the boxes, because I had an incident recently and I went back to a job that I've done and the boxes were absolutely just, oh, it was ridiculous. So it really annoyed me. So, and it wasn't our lads, before anyone says that it was somebody else, and it really piddled me off. So I've started to basically tape them up. So all it takes is a few seconds, each one, 3 pieces of tank tape, and it's done. All right, so when you come back, you can even, if you really wanted to, you could fill them all with Wagos, connect all the cables up, do all your testing now. If you've got time, you can do that, and then all you've got to do is put the cut out and put your socket fronts on. So that is what I'm going to go round now doing, but I find that's the easiest way, and what costs you, maybe for the whole project, it might cost you 10 minutes, you know, to do the whole thing. But it will save you a lot of time cleaning out and all the rest of it, because you won't have to do any of that, because other than just cutting out for the actual boxes, because the plaster won't stick to that anyway. It won't stick to it, so they can try and fill it up if they want, but it won't happen. So little top tip for you. Okay, so we're all pretty much done for the day now. So let's just go through what we've managed to get achieved. So socket wise, so we're just going to leave that one as it is right now, because we've got the cable that's still energized that leads down to that socket there. So I've put an additional socket in at the bottom ready, and obviously the HDMIs need to go in. So we've managed to get all the rings sorted, so we've clipped it all the way along the top, all the way down, and then, sorry, this is the radial, sorry, to here. We've gone through the light switch positions now, so we're going to have the light switch there for the outside lights. So kitchen side is all sorted. We've got all that bit done and dusted, so we've dropped in the hob cable. So we've got to tidy these little bits up, but again...
Right, so you may have gathered that something's gone wrong, and that would be the audio. So I don't know what happened, the audio dropped out. I'm guessing that it's probably the fact that I probably didn't charge them properly. So that's happened. So basically the gist of it is what we've gone through is that the power supplies for the rooms are all taken care of, excluding the lights. So that is upcoming in a later video. So I do apologise, and if you have got to the end of this video, thank you very much for sticking with it. And this is not normal procedure. So do us a favour, trust me, smash that subscribe button, and I must try better. All right?